Okay guys, so as some of you would be aware, I like to collect some random bits and pieces, mostly automotive based. But I seem to be able to look at some scrap and turn it into something usable and actually quite quirky. Now, I've had a few bits and pieces gifted to me over the last few months, one of which was an A series engine, which I converted into a lamp. Now, with that, a friend of mine, Chris, also gave me his father's old Austin steering rack with its steering wheel. And it's been sat in the corner for quite some time, and I keep staring at it, and I can't help myself but think that would make a really nice freestanding lamp. So that is what I'm going to attempt to do in this video. I'm going to get some bits and pieces together, and I'm going to see if I can turn this unassuming item into quite a funky looking freestanding lamp. So the steering rack in question is this one here. I'm not quite sure what model Austin it is from. I've already started taking bits apart. This needs cleaning up, but also I need to open up this spline here to accept this 15mm copper pipe. This is what I'm going to use to extend the height of the lamp. But yeah, I've taken that off. But yeah, this is all going to be cleaned. I'm going to whack this in the vapor blaster. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with regards of colour scheme just yet. And if I can, I want to replace all these nuts and bolts with some zinc plated or even some brass, because I just love that look. I think maybe go black, keep it black with like brass or zinc gold plated nuts and bolts. I think will look really nice. Now what's really cool is that it still has its ignition barrel with the keys, which is crazy. Full set of keys. It's even got the British Leyland logo you can just make out there, which is so cool. And I might even leave them on as a feature. My idea at the moment was to, as said, open this up to accept this copper pipe and then find a way of feeding the wire through. May even wrap the wire around here as a feature and then try and find a cool lampshade for it. But first of all, I'm going to clean this up, try and open this up, and then yeah, see what we have lying around for the finer details. But yeah, closer look at the wheel itself. I remember this logo very clearly as a child. My granddad had a Ital, and I remember it as a bright orange. But yeah, it is a shame you won't see the horn, but it is very flat, so it's going to make a great base. But with all the other little bits and pieces that I'm looking to bolt onto it and make a feature of it, I think this will look brilliant and be a very quirky freestanding floor lamp. Now, I'm sort of umming and ahhing whether to keep this bush. There is a little bit of flex in it, so this bolts into there, but it's not major. But yeah, what I could do is remove the bush and then just mount this bit directly onto this solid part here. But I quite like the idea of keeping the bush as a feature. Yeah, I'm not sure. All of these projects just happen as and when in real time. I don't kind of pre-plan anything. I see what I have lying around. I'll try something. If I like it, awesome. If I don't, I'll try something different. But yeah, this is what I have. And yeah, I'm definitely going to make use of it. So already this bit is back from cleaning, and hasn't it come out really well? Very, very clean. And I've also found some brass fittings, which already looks fantastic. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to paint it in a satin black. And I just think that satin black with the brass looks fantastic. And to be fair, I do have a lot of satin black paint. But yeah, genuinely, I do like the look of the black. And then when you put these brass fittings, it just, I don't know, it just gives it a look. So that's what we're going to do. So that bit's clean at least. So all I have to do now is try and disassemble the rest of it, paint that in black also, and then I can attach this bit of copper pipe, because what I've also managed to do is open up this hole to just over 15 mil, so it now accepts and it will pinch tight on that bit of copper pipe. So I'm not quite sure how easy it is to remove this tube. It does move slightly. This is going to be easy enough. I can just unbolt the ignition, take that off, give it a clean. I might trim the wires because it does look a little bit messy and I don't really want that bit, but I do want to keep the ignition itself. But yeah, I need to try and find a way. I don't know if maybe the steering wheel comes off once I take the horn button off, which then allow me to take this tube off. If not, it's not a problem. I'll take the rubber off the top, which are these two bolts, which will be replaced for brass also. And yeah, mask up the wheel and I'll just spray it in situ. So at the moment, just trying to remove the steering wheel. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to split all this apart because these are not like a Allen head or anything to remove. I'm not quite sure how they're fitted. I can only assume they're sort of a one-time job only. Once it's on, it's not supposed to come off. Maybe as a security device. But there is what I think is a cap, but I'm not quite sure. But in all honesty, it's not going to take much to mask this up when I paint the black. And I may even then paint this in a nicer silver, just so it stands out, looks a bit fresher. But yeah, I'm going to take the wheel off at least, because that's one less thing to deal with. And then I'll mask this up and prep it ready for paint. And just like that, we now have a steering wheel. And you can see here, it's not actually a horn in the centre, so it must be on like one of the stalks. This is literally just a pad. And it's held in with these push clips. So all you've got to do is pull on it and it pulled out lovely. But that can be cleaned. And now we are left with this. And good news, because if I remove this cap and if I can do it one-handed, remove this sleeve, this comes out, as you can see. So I can separate the main shaft itself. And then this cover, and I'll keep this on because I said I don't think I can remove it, and it's not a problem anyway because I want to paint it. But yeah, I can now take just this tube to be blasted, get it nice and clean, and yeah, ready to put on some paint. So it has been blasted and it has come out looking absolutely mint. So as you can see, I have started to mask up the areas I don't want to be painted. I'm going to get all of this into some etch primer. Then I can mask off the ignition, as that's going to be in a silver, and then do the rest in the satin black. But I noticed, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but stamped on there is 0983. So that's obviously the date that this was produced, and 1983 is the year of production of my A86, which is a pure coincidence. But yeah, so get this into some paint and we can start the assembly. Etch primer, black, silver, lacquered, done. So that can now be reassembled back on to the main shaft. So with that now done, I can reattach the steering wheel back on to the spline, and then I've got an idea of what I want to do with regards of these brackets. All secure, and the pad is all back on. Now I've restuck the label with a bit of double-sided tape because it was coming away, but that is lovely and secure. And it is a real shame that you're not going to see this because it's now obviously going to be upside down, but I have an idea to incorporate an Austin related item into this where you'll be able to see it and it'll be a nice detail. So next I'm going to give this a good scrub, and then with that back on I can also get this mounted to that, and then we can work out what we're going to do with regards of the copper pipe and cut it to length. That looks a little bit better. And there we go, it's really starting to come together with these brass fixings. I knew against the black this would start looking really, really nice, and I'm very happy so far. So now let's add some copper pipe, cut it to length, and let's see what we think of the copper against the black against the brass. So apparently it's about 58 to 64 inches is the average height of a floor lamp. So let's measure up what we got and then cut off what we don't need. So this is measuring 64 from where the tape ends. And on the floor, we are, okay, so we're not too far off. So I'll cut off, that's probably about 5 inches or so. And then we'll at least be at the average height of a standard floor lamp. And there we go. So it does lean ever so slightly. I can't really show you on camera, but obviously I was expecting that because of the rubber mount. But as I said, it's not a problem. We can remove the rubber mount and do that solid piece here onto the solid bit of the main steering shaft. So we've got an option, but I kind of like the idea of the bush, but it's, yeah, it moves, but it's rigid. But I'm still not sure what I'm going to do about a lampshade. So I've got a fitting coming, a compression fitting, which will work on this, which will then allow me to screw in the bulb holder. But with regards of a lampshade, I'm not sure if I'm just going to go for like a standard style lampshade or make myself a custom one like I usually do. But honestly, I'm not sure. That's the one bit of this project that I just keep overthinking, and I'm not quite sure what would suit it. So what I'm going to do is do everything else that I'm comfortable doing, and then lampshade will obviously be the last bit anyway. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. And the thing is, with a lampshade, you can easily change it within a few seconds. So if you have a choice. So yeah, it's actually not going to be too much of a problem. But yeah, I'm going to see what I can find. So speaking of lampshades, we are going to need the bulb holder. And to support the bulb holder, we are going to need one of these. Now this is a compression fitting, which I've ordered, and it has a little 10mm threaded insert, which will accept the bulb holder. It's completely hollow, so we can feed the cable through, down into the copper pipe, and then I'll drill a little hole at the bottom for the wire to escape, and then we'll wrap the rest around the column. Now because of that, I am going to order the twisted nylon style cable, which I use a lot on my projects. I'm not quite sure what colour to go for just yet, but I would like to make a feature of it. But let's get this fitted first. And for those of you that are interested in where I got this from, I will leave a link down in the description. So here is that unit all separated. This is the ring, which would sit into here. That slides over the copper pipe first, and then when this screws itself into the nut, that then compresses that ring against the copper pipe, holding it securely into place. And that is that, nice and tight. So, had a delivery of the bulb holder and some wire. So, let's get all this wired in, put a plug on the end, and then we can install it to the lamp. So what I'll do first is just loosen this, leave myself a little bit of a gap underneath, because what I'm hoping is that once the wire is in this tube, that I can have it come out just below the bolt, and then we can work out if we're going to wrap it around. But yeah, I'll get this out, we'll feed it through, and yeah, see what we can do with it. So that's now fitted, all wired in, goes down the copper pipe, and comes out the bottom here. Now, with regards of this, you can see the thickness of the wire is just too much. I don't want to compress it when I put the bolt through, because it is already quite tight to put the bolt through the hole. So, what I'm going to have to do, which originally was a plan anyway, is either drill a hole up here, or just cut like a little groove out for the wire to come out the top, and then the bolt will go underneath to pinch this in. So, I'll see. Yeah, I'll have a think. I'll see if a hole or a slit. I think the hole would be the simplest idea. It's just trying to feed the wire through. But, yeah. Let me have a think, and yeah, we'll get this done. There you go, guys. So I just went with a slot, and it now goes over the top of the bolt. And then I've just got to work out how I'd like to twist this, and I'll probably just do this, to be fair, all the way down to the bottom, and then we can attach a plug. And there you go, guys. I quite like the look of that, to be fair. All the way down, wrapped it around the bottom. At the moment, just held it with some electrical tape just to make sure that it doesn't want to open up. And it's left me with, I'd say, to be fair, around about 1 metre in length to find, obviously, the socket, wherever this will live. But for now, let's get the plug on, and we can put a bulb in it and see if this works. So if that all fitted, I will just pinch a bulb out of one of my spare lamps, and then we'll plug it in and we'll see if we have light. Perfect. So, really happy with that. At the moment, as we've mentioned before, not quite sure what to do with the lampshade. I think at this moment in time, I'll leave it as it is. I will get this pat tested to make sure that it is safe. But otherwise, we're pretty much complete. So all that is to be done now is this bit. This will be the final stage. So this is the little piece we cut off for the grill. I think I'm going to spray this in either a light gold, because I think I have some, or even maybe a bronze, because I think with the chrome lettering of the Austin against it, it'll really stand out, and it'll be nice to go with all these brass fixings and the copper here. So yeah, I'll have a look at my random array of paints, choose a colour, and stick some paint on this. Okay, so this is now dry. You can just about pick up, it's not as silver now, it's got that hint of gold, which is great. And I've got 2 little black marks just here, which is where these pins on the badge need to go. So I'm going to drill these ever so slightly bigger and then press these in. Now I'm not quite sure, they are tapered, so I'm hoping they'll just stay in. If not, what I'm going to do is get some hot glue and just glue the back end, and I think that will hold it in place. There we go, 4mm hole. It's nice and flat. So yeah, I will probably just blob a little bit of hot glue on the back, and then that is done. And then what we can do is put this onto the brackets here, line them up, mark the holes. We've got some bolts and we can bolt that on. Okay, so let that dry for a second. There's a little blob on each, and hopefully then that should hold it in place. And there it is, just put on loosely. I've just found some 6mm domed bolts. I'm not sure if I'd prefer to have maybe like stainless steel, or even some more brass fittings if I can find some. And also add a bit of rubber trim around here, just because it is a little bit sharp. But that is on. So with that, I think this is pretty much done. Now, with regards to lampshade, as mentioned, you guys can use whatever you want. I don't have one yet, and I haven't made one out of the number plates. I would need to buy some more number plates if I want to make one. But overall, that is basically the lamp complete. So other than a lampshade, that is complete. It's a little bit random, but using a disused steering column, it is something you guys could try out yourself. Now this is a little bit of a break from my rally chopper project. And if you're not aware of this, there is a couple of videos already in the playlist. And this is where I am restoring a 1971 Mark I crossover rally chopper. Now, if that sounds like your kind of thing, please make sure you subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the latest videos. But with that, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.